Right, let's dive into one of the most jaw-dropping diplomatic chess matches playing out right now. The EU turning to China, while the US throws tariff threats and Canada quietly slips out of the picture. Sounds dramatic? That's because it is. So, picture this. Brussels' biggest leaders, Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa, have just landed in Beijing for the 25th EU-China summit. 50 years of diplomatic ties, but this meeting, it's tense. The summit, trimmed down from 2 days to one, hints at just how frosty things are. China's calling it a reset. The EU, they're just hoping to keep the conversation going. And here's why everyone's on edge. The EU is stuck in a brutal squeeze, caught between Trump's America, threatening to slap a 30% tariff on most EU exports, and an assertive China. Their own trade deficit with China? It's ballooned to over 300 billion euros. Why? Cheap Chinese electric vehicles, state-subsidized and flooding European markets. US demand for Chinese goods is dropping, so guess where all that overcapacity is headed? Straight to Europe's doorstep. The EU's answer? Slap tariffs on Chinese EVs. China's response? Launch investigations into European brandy, pork, anything to turn up the heat. It's a classic tit-for-tat, and it's escalating. But trade isn't the only battlefield. Energy and tech are just as fraught. China's tightened its grip on rare earth materials, those vital minerals for EVs and defense tech, leaving EU supply chains gasping. And while China wants the EU to push back against US controls on Dutch chip-making gear, the EU's got its own demands: loosen those rare earth exports or else. Let's not forget geopolitics. The EU's furious about China's close ties with Russia, especially with the war in Ukraine still raging. Beijing's buying up Russian oil and gas, allegedly sending dual-use goods, and, according to insiders, doesn't want Russia to lose. The EU's even sanctioned Chinese banks and companies for supporting Moscow, sparking threats of retaliation from Beijing. And now, with Canada pulling back and the US getting protectionist, the EU finds itself at a crossroads. Does it double down on Western alliances or hedge its bets with China, risking backlash from Washington? This isn't just about trade deals or tariffs. It's a high-stakes game, with global power balances hanging in the balance. One thing's clear: whatever the EU decides, the world is watching.